Meetings have
here
been going
in a
great,
bit.
and people are loving them. They're just really enthusiastic about the fellowship. There's a lot of people that came to our first one and have never missed one since.
There are a lot of people on this call. This is so fascinating.
Dorothy Buckler, and I have 16 horses. I know that's too many, but what can you do?
I heard about you guys through a Facebook ad, and just thought it was an awesome thing. And I'm always trying to share more about God and what he's doing for me anyway, so it fits in perfectly.
I'm actually in Hawaii.
Oh, wow.
Victor Mathis, charter member, mentoring with horses out of East Tennessee.
And so we've talked about having a name choice contest. So maybe we will.
Yeah.
He is a licker. You see him licking me?
It's a cool shirt you're wearing.
Yeah, I know, isn't it? I just got it this week. I ride mostly English, some hunter jumpers, dressage, trail riding, basically reliving my childhood.
And I think in order for us to be made in the image of a spirit, John says, God is spirit. Those who worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth.
This is worth double points. How many horses did Solomon have? If you're ever wondering, hey, did I actually do that? If you just scroll down, it'll give you sort of a feed, kind of like on Facebook, of every single thing that you've done.
She would like to boss them around. You're right. Here's the one that stopped the truck.
I heard about it on Facebook, and I'm really excited to just share the love of Jesus and the love of horses.
Ranch patterns and trail riding, and just really enjoying horses with some really good people. So
I've got to get my show points going. I've got to get with that. And I love your shirt, but we need an English rider.
Yes, I'm going to talk about that.
And this is my first time on with you guys, and I'm not a member. I'm just learning about your group. So
all right. Well, welcome. Who's this?
This is the neediest cat in the world.
It's the biggest cat in the world, unless you are a very tiny person.
Gotten away from God a little bit, and I'm glad to I've been looking at your association for a few weeks and decided, kind of join the meeting and see how it all was. And you guys are very welcoming, so it's awesome.
We're very glad to have you.
We're glad you're here.
I got to have a little praise report. My phone notifies me, and we just had a new notice come across the top of my phone that we have a new member has signed up for the Christian Horse Show Association. And that's a thrill every time that happens. This association is going and growing, and God's hand's upon it, and the anointing is building. I think these Zoom meetings are really adding to the fellowship. This is not just an unknown organization that you read about online. These are real people who love God and horses just like you do.
My name is Richard Varno. I'm the co-founder of the Christian Horse Show Association. I do a lot of the tech stuff. And I'll talk a little bit about the association for a minute, and then I'll have Pastor Dave introduce himself, and he can turn it over to Miss Regina. So, first and foremost, I'm very happy to announce that all gift cards for all past trivia contests, and also if you chose a gift card, a lot of people chose gift cards as part of their awards, those all went out today. And yes, we are going to do stickers. And you should, at some point in the near future, you should receive a mailing with some horse show stickers in it. What else was I going to say? So gift cards have gone out. We're in the process of the person that I was working with at Molly's Custom Silver is no longer working there. So that's either God putting somebody better in their place or telling me to use a different company. And then also on saddles, either on Friday or Saturday, I'm going down to meet with the saddle place. So if you requested any kind of an upgrade on your saddle, please be available during those times so I can give you a call and possibly ask you questions. We'll have to see how I've got to meet with them before I know exactly how that's going to work. And then if you ordered a jacket or a trophy, and the plaques, those will be going out before the end of the month. I'm not exactly sure when, because there's a couple other things we have to have in place before we send those out. The member dashboard should be up sometime next week, so you can start entering your points for 2026. we're excited about that. And you can sign up. The registration is currently open. If you just go to chsa.net and scroll down, you can click on the membership that you want. We've got people signing up every day. It's very exciting. And I think that's it. We'll talk about partner clubs more next week, but we've got some exciting stuff to talk about with partner clubs. I think everybody has been here before, so I'm not going to kind of go through how all the memberships work and stuff like that. But if you do have questions, feel free to ask them at the end. And with that, I will turn it over to Pastor Dave.
Okay. And Robert Coate has entered, and I don't think he got to introduce himself. So if he wants to unmute and introduce himself, he could. Robert,
He was hovering over Miss Dawn when she was introducing.
Yeah, I was hovering. I'm doing a lot of stuff. I had to fix the fence. The horses decided they didn't want it right there anymore. So, you know how that goes.
Okay. Well, we're glad you're here. And then there's Vanessa Maloney who's entering the meeting. So while she's joining, I'll go ahead and introduce myself. My name's David Davis, one of the founders of the Christian Horse Show Association. And I have carried this vision for years, and it is such a blessing to see the Lord actually birth it into manifestation here on the earth, and that people are joining in. And it is a family network, and we are promoting the love of horses and the love of Jesus. And it just seems like it's snowballing, it's growing, it's just becoming all and even more and greater than I ever dreamed that it could be. And so we've just turned it all over to the Lord. It's up to him to move and shape and lead and guide it and direct it to go where he wants to go and become what he wants it to be. Hey, one more announcement that I'll share now that everybody has signed on. I said this earlier in the meeting, is that I've been nominated for an award. And if I win this award, I know it'll really help promote the Christian Horse Show Association. And they're calling it the Hoosier Equestrian of the Year. And they sent a questionnaire to the people who've been nominated, which included me. And so I had to spend a lot of time and do some homework to fill out all these questions. And they ask, what have you done that will have a lasting impact on the equestrian world? And so I was able to reply. I started the Christian Horse Show Association that's going to continue to encourage participation in horse shows from now on. And I think that answer in itself is probably going to get the winning vote for the Hoosier Equestrian of the Year. So be praying about that as we move forward. So then, Vanessa Maloney, did you want to introduce yourself? You could unmute and introduce yourself before we move forward into our special speaker.
Sorry for hopping on late. Barn chores here in Massachusetts just take a lot longer with all the snow that's sticking around.
We understand.
This is my second time joining. I was on January 29th. Today is my second one, just kind of getting a feel for it. And I think my niece is going to join with us next Thursday, who's only 5 to watch.
Wonderful. Yes,
well,
okay.
We're blessed that you decided to join us again.
Yes.
Thank you for having me.
So, welcome. And now I think we are ready to introduce our special speaker, who's a good friend of mine, longtime friend, Regina Gesell from Missouri. And I'm sure she's going to talk more about the way the Lord brought us together and interaction we've had, etc. So I'll turn it over to her and let her introduce herself and then go just flow with how she feels led to share a scripture and testimonies or whatever it is she's going to share. So take it away, Regina.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for having me tonight. I'm Regina Gesell. I have a Twisted Arena in Seymour, Missouri. We are the only trick riding school that I know of in the United States that teaches trick riding weekly, daily. And we also are a boarding facility. But I would like to first read my first scripture. And tonight's message is going to kind of be about loss at first, that talks about the loss that I've been through with losing several horses and how I got to know David. And then in the end, I want to read a scripture that talks about how he will bless us back with more than we could ever, hope for, that it will be doubled. So my first reading is going to be from Isaiah 61, 2 and 3. He has sent me to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor, for those who accept me, and the future day of judgment, for those who reject me. He has sent me to comfort those who mourn, to replace the ashes they sprinkled on the heads of the crowns of beauty, to give the oil of gladness and to those that are sad, and the garment of praise to those who weep. So, talking about beauty to ashes, the way I first got my start in trick riding was me and my husband worked at the Dixie Stampede in Branson, Missouri, and we was trick riders and performed there. We went on to work at Six Flags in Chicago. We did a stunt show, and I learned how to stunt fight. And it was pretty awesome because not most wives get to say they got to kick their husband off a 10-foot wall 5 times a day. So if I ever had any frustration, I could let it out and nothing really be known. But that was a show that we did up there. And then after that, we did lots of rodeos, and we went on to do equine affairs. And we had our one and only daughter, Cheyenne. And she was very interested in trick riding. She started when she was 5 years old and on a little white miniature pony. And she trick rode in our shows. And then we had a little trick pony that she had also that she used. And whenever we was at Silver City in Branson, Missouri, is where we met David Davis for the first time. He was performing down there with his black and white horses. And Cheyenne come up and, of course, I sure talked his leg off, asking him a million questions about trick horses and telling him about her little pony that she had. And that's kind of how we first met for the very first time. I remember one of my favorite tricks that he did was he had his horse sit down on a beanbag. And I think that was Preacher. No, I'm not sure if it was Preacher or which one it was. But I remember that
Apostle has always been
Apostle, yeah.
Like
was probably one of the ones, and he had a big checkerboard sitting there beside him in front of the horse, and it was just so impressive to see. So whenever we decided to buy a Roman riding team for Cheyenne, the lady that we bought them from, she told us 2 different owners that had owned them, and she mentioned David Davis's name. And so I called him and talked to him about the horses, and he reassured me that they was a really good team and probably would really work good for Cheyenne. So we purchased them. But that's when kind of the tragedy started, was 30 days after we bought that first Roman riding set. Lucky and Dice, though one of my favorites was Lucky. He actually colicked and died 30 days after we had him. So that kind of was the first loss of our first black and white, dream of having these horses. So then we bought another horse here local in Missouri, and we had him about a year, and Cheyenne was practicing to go Roman ride out at the IFR in Oklahoma City. And he ended up about a week before we went. He actually ruptured his stomach, and the vet thought it was because he was cribbing and possibly got, some splinter wood down his throat. So that was loss of our horse number 2. So after that, I called David again, and I asked him if he had any horses for sale, because these black and white horses up to be perfect size, perfect color is so hard to get. So we contacted David again, and we was going to go up to his barn and bring one of my mares up to get bred to his stud horse, Christian, if anybody knows his horses. And we left my white mare up there, Sugar, with so much hope. White horse, bred to a black and white paint. I thought I was sure to get a few spots. And when I was up there, I fell in love with a stud horse that he had, and I named him Wildfire. And I purchased Wildfire and brought him home, and was very excited to have him. And I have to back up just a little bit. Right before we bought Wildfire, we was looking at purchasing an indoor riding arena, and we finally had found, we'd looked forever, prayed about it a lot. They're so expensive to have steel construction. And I found an old barn that had been built in 1980. And it had 16 stalls and had an indoor riding arena. And I was just thrilled, and we purchased it. And then that's whenever we went up and I bought Wildfire. And then 6 months after owning the barn, another tragedy struck, to where we actually had a tornado go through and it killed Wildfire. And it was just pretty words can't explain what it is to go through that, because it takes so long. It's not like just a day's worth of cleaning. And I mean, it's, months worth of rebuilding and cleaning, because it took down the whole barn, the whole center fell in, took the whole roof off. But we was very lucky that we didn't lose, any more horses than we did that day. But like I said, we did lose the one stud horse that day. But the one blessing that was that day that was wonderful was I had a 4-day-old baby colt that was out of Christian, that was in the barn, and him and his mom was perfectly fine and not a scratch on him. But what was amazing is that I named him Tornado, is he is solid black though. So I struck out on my beautiful black and white. But
he is a good looking horse though.
He is beautiful. So we rebuilt, and, we added on to the barn. We added an extra 40 feet. So we got even more stalls, and it's beautiful. And I was very lucky that we had insurance on the barn that paid for it to be rebuilt. So once again, I'm down another black and white horse. So time to call, guess who? David. And I called David to see if he had any other horses. And this is the one that's really going to stand out, that I hope you guys can, understand in the message. I bought Magic. And we trained Magic. He was one that was harder to learn to teach to trick ride on. He took to Roman riding fine, but trick riding is, sometimes you don't get a horse that'll do both. And finally, once he got trick riding down, he was so good at it. He was one of my daughter's favorite horses. And like I said, his name was Magic. And we had him for 4 or 5 years. And lo and behold, tragedy struck again. The horse number 3, black and white. And we could not figure out what was going on, because it wasn't a normal colic. He had some signs that was kind of like colic, but not exact. So I had my vet come out to my house, and I'm like, tell me what's wrong, what's going on. And so we got to looking around. It was an extremely hot summer, and we figured out, and he took water samples from our pond. We had blue-green algae poisoning in our pond. And I almost lost another horse before we figured it out. So the blessing there was one horse was saved that we almost lost. So, and also during that time of up and down, we also lost the second horse to that first Roman riding team that we had. He did colic and die. But like I said, I've lost several. There's 5 horses altogether that we lost. That was all black and whites, that almost all of them but one had an association with David, like that he had owned them in the past, or somebody else, they may have been sold, and then we got a hold of them. So it was amazing that through the years, it just always kept going back to horses that he had. But even though there's lots of loss, there comes the good part of, getting God to bless us. He does, it's hard not to get down and just see all the tragedy, because, he has blessed us so much. And that's where I would like to read from.
Hey, there's one blessing in store. Let me throw this in. You might talk about in the future, but in case you're going to skip this, is she sent 2 mares here to breed this year, and I had them checked by the vet, who said they were not pregnant, but now one of them is pregnant.
Yes.
So she's expecting a new foal to be born that's by my stallion. So we're looking forward to that.
Yes.
And then, did you mention this mare Magic?
Not yet. I'm coming to that one.
You're coming to her. Okay.
I'm coming to that Magic. Well, to
right.
start talking about the blessings, I wanted to read from Ezekiel. It is, I got to find my note, which one verse I'm reading. 9:12. You are prisoners of hope, listening to me, and I will be fortress of strength. I will bless you twice over for your suffering that you had to go through. And that's where things really changed and turned around for us, was after the barn fell down. We luckily had the insurance, and when we rebuilt it, we had to have the insurance companies come out and everything afterwards. We purchased our farm for $250,000, and it had the old barn of 1980. after the barn was rebuilt, just the barn alone, they had us put a value of $850,000 on just the barn.
Wow.
So there's no way I would have ever owned a barn that would have been that new. You know, I was lucky to even have the 1980s barn. So that's double blessing right there. And then speaking of the horse magic that passed away from the blue-green algae, I'm always on the hunt for a beautiful black and white Overo. And it just happened, the farm that I sold had this beautiful mare. And I asked about her, and they said if they ever sold her, they'd call me. Well, they did. And they said, this horse is also trick trained. And I said, oh, yeah. And they said, well, if you buy her, she also has this book that has photos in it. And so we bought the mare. And as soon as I opened that book with photos of it, sure enough, guess who was in the photo? David Davis. It was a Christmas program you had. And there was the mare. And that was just amazing in itself. And I called David and told him about it, that I had this mare and was excited. But then I looked on her papers and did not realize that the horse magic that we lost to blue-green algae, the mare that we purchased, is his daughter.
Oh, I don't think I knew that detail. That's awesome.
Yes. And
I got her from the same area in Indiana, but I didn't know that was her dad. That makes sense.
She lived on my other farm I had just sold for probably 2 years before I purchased her. And then, so she had ran on the same ground that her daddy did.
Awesome.
And I mean, there's just nothing that, you know, there's no way that's just some, you know, coincidence that would have happened. So to have that magic back in our lives, and then that mare magic is actually back at David Davis's house being bred. So we got our fingers crossed.
We use her in our drill team. We've got a drill team that we do set to music, and we want that to become a Christian Horse Show Association thing. And we call it the God Squad. And so we're going to put out a video of our routine so people from around the nation can learn our routine. And then when we're going to perform in your area, you could come and ride with us.
Oh, that would be wonderful.
That's our dream for the God Squad. Yeah.
And one of my dreams is to have a horse show someday at my barn, and for David Davis to come down and do a training seminar, and then for us to have church the next day to reshare our connection of these horses and between the loss and the growth through the years.
Yes, awesome. I love that dream.
So, and the last thing I had to say is, you know, with all these blessings and these horses is wonderful. And my last good blessing was this past April, my granddaughter was born 2 months early, and she actually had to stay in the hospital for a month, but she's perfectly fine now. She's 10 months old and she weighs 18 pounds. Little Miss Montana. And if weather permitting, we're going to be at David's horse show here. Is it in 2 weeks, I think, with Montana, and we're bringing up 2 gypsy horses to show. So we're very excited to come up and be able to meet with David again and to share our blessings. So, and we're always on the hunt for our next black and white pony for little Montana.
Ooh. Hey, okay, so that's a little bit of a scary thought. I have got this awesome black Overo pony, and they are so hard to find. And he is cool, and he does tricks. His name's Zacchaeus, because that's the short guy in the Bible.
The wee little man.
So he can see Jesus. But the scary part of it is I don't want to part with him. I love him. and you know, when he does his tricks, he has this cute factor going on that the big horses don't have, and people love him. He is he's a cross between a very famous Gypsy Vanner stallion and a pony mare. And so we turned out black and white Overo. He's got a little bit of feathering on his legs, and he is just short and fat and proud of himself. He loves to rear up and walk beside me. He's really good at that. And he'll lay down and roll over, and he does all these tricks. He's awesome. Anyway, that's fabulous. There was something else I was going to say. Oh, I want to go ahead and just give my spiel about our horse shows. You mentioned our horse shows. And we have what we call our Fuzzy Horse Show series. So during the winter, January, February, and March, we have a horse show series where the points go toward earning high point buckles in the different divisions on the third Saturday of each month. And so when my show secretary said, let's have horse shows in the winter, I said, why do you want to have horse shows in the winter? Who wants to get out and show horses when it's cold? But we have the hugest crowds of all year. And so our parking lot's packed, the indoor arena's packed. And it's like everybody is huddled so close together. There's body heat, and we warm the place up, and we have a lot of fun. So if anybody wants to be on the happening place in the country in the middle of the winter, come on out to the Davis Ranch. We have a lot of fun at these fuzzy horse shows. And I'm delighted that you're coming. And the thing about our shows, people say we have the most versatile show bill and list of classes because we offer carriage driving classes and freestyle liberty classes, in addition to our open lunge line class, in-hand trail, and lots of classes that are open to different breeds. So our awards include our other breed category. So we've got awards that's for the quarter horses and paints and Appaloosas, but then we've got the other breed category that would include Gypsy Vanners and Morgans and Andalusians and Saddlebreds, whatever else. And so that's winnable. You don't have to compete against the quarter horses to win your category. And I'm delighted you guys are going to come and compete and try to win with your Gypsy Vanners. Hallelujah. So
and there'll be a new experience for us because this is our first year of owning, and helping with the gypsies. So we're excited.
Yes. Good. It'll be a learning experience. So when you're here, you can see Zacchaeus, but don't go falling in love with him because I'm pretty attached to him. Even though you need him.
In horse speak, that just means the price went up.
Okay. Yes. This all could be a creative sales spiel I'm presenting about how much I love him. Anyway,
also, I seen that Susan wrote on the notes down here that she used to roam and ride with Don and Joanne Anderson at the Texas White Horse Ranch, and they was a big heroes of mine. Their son and daughter, Austin and Stacy, and I actually finally got to go to their ranch just a few years back, and it was such a blessing to meet them.
Oh, wonderful. I have met him. We've performed at the same place before. I don't feel like I know him well and personally, but I have met him. He seems like a great guy. Yeah. Small world. The horse show community is a small world. We are a hidden network, and we do know each other within the horse industry. If you're on the outside looking in, you're lost. You're not part of it. You got to get in, get involved, meet people, and develop connections. And I remember a pastor of mine saying years ago that the body of Christ is based on relationships. And he said, so myself as a pastor, I don't invite someone I don't know to come here and preach to you people. He said, I invite people who I know and trust. And there's a lot to understand about that. The body of Christ is based on relationships. And the Zoom meeting is a great time of relationship building. On that thought, I want to say that the International Ranch Ministry Conference that's held in Virginia in September is a great time to get together with other people who use horses in ministry. Last year was my first time going to that. Loved it. And we're talking to them about holding a spring Midwest International Ranch Ministry Conference here at the Davis Ranch. And that same kind of networking and relationship building and stuff could begin to happen here. So anyway, keep that in mind. That is a fun place to go, and you'll meet other Christians that are like-minded and doing a lot of the same stuff you're doing. Well, cool. This is fabulous. I am pumped up.
Well, before we move on to our trivia contest, we always like to give folks opportunity to ask questions around. I know you didn't really talk about your trick riding that much, but if anybody has questions related to trick riding or anything else that was going on, if you want to just unmute yourself and go ahead and ask. And in the meantime, we'll get set up for the trivia contest. Does anybody have any questions for Miss Regina? And thank you so much for sharing and being a part of our meeting. It was a real blessing.
Yes, it was.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
Anybody have any questions for Miss Regina?
Regina. Yeah, for Regina. Unmute or mute, I mean.
Or if you have questions about anything else, we could answer a couple before we get started.
I tell people everybody has trick rode before. They just don't always land the land.
Oh, funny. True.
Yeah, I've done some of that.
Richard,
Yes, ma'am.
um, did you say last week that non-competing members can enter in their miles, but they can't sign up for any prizes?
That is correct.
All right.
So
Thank you.
you will be able to create. That's one of the things that I'm working on before we launch is for non-competing members to be able to create sort of non-competing nominations to where they can track their stuff, their miles and stuff like that, and probably will give people the ability to convert those into competing nominations at some point. I just have to figure out how to make all the ones and zeros talk to each other.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
So Regina, just losing one of my little minis and her best friend, they've been together for the past 30 years. I'm seeing a little bit of aggression. Is there anything, advice that you have or feedback that I could help this her best friend deal with the grief?
It's hard. I know that a lot of people don't believe that other animals grieve the way that they do. And my mom and dad actually had a little dog that it had lost its best friend. And when they went and buried the other one would just stay down there next to where they buried it, to where she just wouldn't eat and drink. And finally they had to put her down. So I don't know if you're able to get another companion for it, but that would be my biggest suggestion, is another little miniature pony to go with the other one, to having another friend. I don't know if that's feasible right now, but
I've always, if our miniature ever goes home to be with Jesus, I've always wanted to get a little miniature donkey because one, the ears, and two, I love that sound they make. I actually have. Go ahead.
We do have another miniature, and when we got these two minis, Duchess and Sally, we thought that they would all bond together, but they kind of stayed on their own, and now she's being real aggressive to the other mini.
and it may take a little time, for her to go through that and work through that, because right now, I'm thinking in her mind, she's still waiting for kind of her best friend to come around the corner. So that other one, you're not my best friend. But maybe when there's a little bit more time lapse, they will, especially the herd animal part will usually kick in to where they may start to like each other a little more. That happened. We lost my daughter's little white miniature pony before we lost its mate. And same thing, he was really hateful to everybody else, but he finally, it took about 6 months or less maybe, but he started taking up a little bit more with another horse. So take some time and extra love from you, which will also help you too.
I have a question actually related to aggression for anybody that can help. I've got our halflinger, a few days ago, our mini, who's the only one that's out with the halflinger, he came in and his eye was kind of swollen. And we were concerned that maybe he hit it on something or the other horse, the halflinger, did something to him. And we let him out today, and they were up yesterday, so they were a little riled up, but he like went after the miniature horse. Like a lot of times they'll run around a little bit, just kind of playing, but this was, my wife said it was very different, that he was just running him down full speed and going after him, and actually backed him into a corner and tried to kick him. And fortunately he missed, and my wife was able to get the miniature horse out of there. But I mean, they've been together in the same pasture for like 2-3 years. How long have we had him? Like 2.5 years. And just, this is like totally out of the blue. And I got no idea. And I mean, he's always been an occasional butthead, but I don't, how do you, other than just make him live by himself, how do you deal with that?
So one thought come to my mind is, I thought you were going to say he took off after him and grabbed him and bit him. And if they are biting them, one thing you can do is put a muzzle on the horse that would bite, so then they can run them.
He wasn't trying to bite him. He was just chasing him, and then he got him around back, sort of around behind the arena where it's sort of a dead end, and he turned around and he just fired off. I mean, up off the ground and fired off a kick.
Oh, wow.
Like all four, like, yeah.
So I'm glad he didn't hit him, but that's a tough one to fix. I don't really know what else to tell you about that.
And this is a
Um,
horse that refuses to do anything more than a slow walk in the arena.
yeah, funny. Wow.
I had when I first brought Daniel home, my older quarter horse him and kept going after him. And Daniel was, a baby racehorse. He had been turned out with his mother, and then they wean them and they send them to the track. So they don't have any social skills at all. And it got so bad, the only option I had was to put somebody in the dog yard because I only have one big pasture. So I did that for a while, and everybody was kind of miserable. And I ended up I'm not sure how anybody will feel about this, but I ended up taking a dog electronic collar and fitting it to to the quarter horse who was being mean because he knew not to be mean when I was there, but then I could be behind a corner or behind a tree, and when he'd go after Daniel, it has like a tone and ear, an audible sound, and then they get zapped. If they keep going, then you can zap them. And it only took a couple times. And because he couldn't see any human beings, he thought that Daniel did it. And so he backed right off, and I didn't have a problem after that.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard anything like that, Dave?
Yeah, no, I've never used one. I don't have experience with it, but it sounds logical to me. Sounds like it would work. And, you got to do what you got to do sometimes. You can't just let them hurt each other.
I had a question. Where did she attach the dog shock collar on the horse? Like, how did she attach it?
I used a second dog collar, right, and made so that it fit around the horse's neck, and I put, behind his ears and under his throat
Kind of
line.
like a cribbing collar? Kind of like a
Yeah.
cribbing collar? Okay, yeah.
And
All right.
so you could hear the tone.
Uh-huh.
The tone went off, the warning tone went off. But I never did it when I wasn't watching him.
Right.
Either. But he never seemed to put together that the caller had anything to do with it.
That's good.
But he did, he definitely knew if I was outside watching, he wasn't going to go after the other horse. But if he couldn't see me, he thought it was safe to go. And then, I could reprimand him, and he had no idea where it came from. And it literally only took a couple of times, and it was cured.
Wonderful.
That's good.
So,
well, I will. I don't know if I can do that, but we'll pray for.
Doesn't hurt. If you're concerned about it hurting, I put it on myself first. And
That's admirable.
yeah.
Yes, it is.
I mean, the one that I got for like $30 from Amazon had different levels, right? So you can turn it up or turn it down. And like I said, I tried it on myself first because I felt the same way, but I was at my wit's end. It was really, I didn't know what to do. And so that, I felt pretty secure in the fact that it wasn't such a bad, it was less than an electric fence shock.
Okay. I was going to say, how do you describe what it felt like?
Yeah, it felt like a minor electric fence shock.
Okay. So that's tolerable. And if it helps save the life of the other horse that's being attacked, it's worth it.
Well, I guess it would probably depend on the horse. This particular horse is so desensitized to pain, I think, because of his past, I don't think you'd even flinch at it. But
hey,
so
Richard,
yeah,
before I forget, let me go ahead and say this. 3 people from the meeting tonight have requested my CDs, so we should have them posted on the CHSA website in case anybody on there would like to get them.
yeah, we can do that.
I'm
Absolutely.
not sure why we never thought of that, but I want to go ahead and say that while I'm thinking of it. I might forget to say
Yes.
it.
Yeah, I can definitely do that. Do you have plenty of stock?
Well, I'm gonna have to order more, but I do have a supply for now.
Okay. Great. We can make that happen. All right. Well, I posted the link in the chat, and I'm sharing my screen so you can either scan the QR code, or click on the link in the chat. If you have the app, then the game pin is 9562598, and I'll throw that in the chat as well. I am happy to report that my other horse has decided to stop remodeling his stall.
Oh, good.
So that's definitely a good thing. It seems like he removed one of the inside walls, and maybe he just wanted to see what was behind it. So I don't, but he hasn't. Although I also significantly backed off his grain, so that may have something to do with it too. The other one is about to get all of his grain backed off of as well. This is the one this is the one that we've struggled to he's been fighting with loose stools. So if
Yeah,
he
that's
was
what I was doing
healthy,
earlier. Two of our horses, the young ones, decided to remodel the fence and go hang out by the round pen. Luckily, they got caught in between there, and they're good enough heads on them. When they got caught and stuck, they just stood still.
that is a good thing to do when you're hung up, is stand still. The same horse that remodeled his stall, and mind you, this horse is almost 30. He's not like a 2-year-old. One time we use they're like the sheep panels for a lot of our fencing. It's like the welded, like the heavy duty, like cow panels, only with smaller holes so they can't get their feet through them. And he and this other horse were across the fence from each other, and he jumped. He like must have reared up and come down on the fence, and he like had the whole fence bent down under him, and was just, I walked out there, I heard somebody whinnying, and, I had to literally cut the fence off with a pair of bolt cutters. But, fortunately, he had enough mind on him to just stand there until I got him free. But it's like, what? Why? It's like, you guys should know better.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I think is anybody else still trying to join? I've got Robert, Jam and Jeff, Dawn, Rhonda, Melinda, Chicago, Sharon, Sheila, Katie, Cheyenne, Susan, Louisa, Tom, Eileen, Destiny, David, and Nikki. Anybody else trying to join? All righty. Well, we're going to get started then. So again, it's multiple choice. I'm going to read 4 questions. There's a color coordinated to each of the answers. If you're on your app, then you click the color that corresponds to the correct answer. You not only get points for getting the correct answer, but for how fast you get the correct answer. It's a mix of horse questions and Bible questions. And we are going to get started. The top 3 winners get $10 gift cards that will be sent out sometime between now and the end of 2026. All right, let's get going. Welcome to CHSA Trivia 2026, February 5th. First question, worth double points. Who wrote the book of Revelation? Red, Paul, blue, John, yellow, Elijah, or green, Enoch? Who wrote the book of Revelation? Red Paul, blue John, yellow Elijah, or green Enoch? And 11 people got this right. The Apostle John wrote the book of Revelation. Miss Sheila is on top, followed by Tom, Katie, Rhonda, and Miss Louisa are all on the board. Next question. What is the term for a horse breed that is a mix of several breeds? Red, a mixed breed horse. Blue, he had papers but I lost them horse. Yellow, a grade horse. Or green, a pickup horse. What is the term for a horse breed that is a mix of several breeds? Red, mixed breed. Blue, he had papers but I lost them. Yellow, a grade horse. Or green, a pickup horse. And the correct answer is a grade horse. 11 people also got this right. So Miss Katie is now in the lead, followed by Tom, Jam Jeff still on the board, Louisa, and Nikki is now on the board. Next question. This one's worth double points. Who wrote the book of Ecclesiastes? Red, David. Blue, Moses. Yellow, Ezekiel. Or green, Solomon? Who wrote the book of Ecclesiastes? Red, David. Blue, Moses. Yellow, Ezekiel. Or green, Solomon? I think you will notice a theme for all of the Bible questions for this time. And 10 people got this right. It is the book of the book of Ecclesiastes was written by Solomon. And the correct Katie is on top. Is there any way you could walk her? Maybe not. I might have to take a quick break for a Beagle bathroom break. Miss Katie's on top, followed by Tom, then Jam and Jeff, Louisa. Robert now has 3 in a row. I apologize. I am going to need to take a slight emergency Beagle bathroom break. I will be right back. Pastor Dave can say something witty while I'm gone.
I can sure try. What comes to mind to say is 2 jokes I've been saying lately in reference to possums. So here's the first part of my joke. I preached this Sunday morning. Is that when I was young, I used to think a possum was a flat animal that lived on the road because so many possums get run over. Okay, so the second part of it is, why did the chicken cross the road? And the answer is to prove to the possum that you could, because possums rarely make it across a road. So when I need to fill the airtime, those are the comical comments that came to my mind. I remember thinking it was really funny when a preacher said that once to me when he was preaching at church, and he paused and he said, I used to think a possum was a flat animal that lived on the road. Also, I've gotten every question right so far, and I'm not even on the board. So I think I have this slow connection speed. I think my answers just aren't going through. It's not my fault.
Do you know, David, 2 weeks ago, I think it was, I got every single question right and I was in 5th.
So see, that's not fair. So I think it does have to do with your internet service and your connection speed.
Yep.
So I always just play for fun, and it doesn't matter where I place, and even if I am in the top, I don't receive an award. So don't worry if you see me on the board. It's not like you're in competition against me. Competition needs to be handled carefully, and I think there are healthy aspects of competition, but I think some people can get overboard with competing. And one of the questions I mentioned on that Who's Your Question of the Year questionnaire, it's what do you think makes a great horseman? And one of my answers was that you don't put the win over the well-being of your horse. And there are people who will go ahead and push a horse to try to win something and then wind up injuring or over-stressing their horse. So there's food for thought. It's more important to take good care of your horse and be a good horseman than it is to push them hard enough to win. Same way with winning this trivia contest. Don't stress over who the winner is. And it's fun to play, and it's nice when you're the winner, but don't worry about it if you're not. And even in this case, it's not your fault. You got all the questions right, but you still didn't win. So I think if anyone could do anything to enhance your internet speed, you would probably place better in the game. And I'm just on my phone, and it is what it is. I'm glad it works, but I don't have to have the top fastest internet speed.
Well, I will tell you. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I will tell you one thing. Me and my mom, Chicago Sharon, and Robert are all here in one room, and we are competing against each other. And it is the funniest thing. We have the best time doing this.
Good. That is funny. Do you notice if one of you, your answers tend to get through quicker than the other ones?
I hit my button before Robert did, and he got on the board.
Okay. So see, once you hit the button, it's up to the internet to get your responses in, and it's not really up to you.
See, if I was back in Chicago, I would have had it. It's this Texas internet.
Funny. If you were what? What'd you say about Chicago?
If I was back in Chicago, it would have come in.
Sorry, I hit the wrong button. We're back. How many people were on Noah's Ark? I didn't mean to click the button. 2, red, 2, blue, 6, yellow, 8, green, 12. How many people were on Noah's Ark? Red 2, blue 6, yellow 8, or green 12? And the correct answer is 12. And 12 people got, sorry. The correct answer is yellow 8, and 12 people got it right. Sorry, I didn't mean to jump into that question. I sat down and my finger accidentally clicked the button and there was no going back. I didn't mean to interrupt everybody there.
That's fine.
All right, Miss Katie still on top, followed by Jam and Jeff. Tom still in third place. Miss Louisa and Robert all still on the board. Susan just hit an answer streak of 3 in a row. Next question, question number 5. What is the average lifespan of a horse? Red, 10 to 15 years. Blue, 15 to 20 years. Yellow, 25 to 30 years. Or green, 30 to 35 years. What is the average lifespan of a horse? Red, 10 to 15. Blue, 15 to 20. Yellow, 25 to 30. Or green, 30 to 35 years. And the correct answer, 14 people got this right, is 25 to 30 years.
I agree with that.
And Katie still on top, followed by Jam and Jeff. Tom, Robert, Miss Louisa now has 5 in a row. So anything could still happen. It's pretty tight scoring there at the top. Question number 6. This one is worth double points. Who wrote the Song of Solomon? Red, David. Blue, Samuel. Yellow, the Shulamite. Or green, Solomon. Who wrote the Song of Solomon? Red, David. Blue, Samuel. Yellow, the Shulamite. Or green, Solomon. And could have been a trick question, but the correct answer is Solomon wrote the Song of Solomon. 10 people got this right.
A joke that I want to throw out here, and that is, what color was George Washington's white horse?
White?
Exactly.
Yes. Okay. Yes, that is a good. David Davis now has the highest answer streak of 6 in a row correct. Katie still on top. Tom, Jam, Jeff, Louisa, and David now on the board. Next question. Question number 7. Just a few to go. What is a young female horse called? Red, a foal. Blue, a filly. Yellow, a colt. Or green, a mini mare. What is a young female horse called? Red, a foal. Blue, a filly. Yellow, a colt. Or green, a mini mare. A mini me. Yes, a mini $1 billion. And the correct answer is a 15. All 15 got this right. A young female horse is called a filly. Miss Katie, our reigning champion so far, still on top. Tom still in second place. Jam and Jeff still in third place. Miss Louisa now 7 correct in a row, and David hanging in there in 5th place. Just 3 questions left. Anything could happen. Question number 8. This one's worth double points. Who wrote the book of Lamentations? Red, Moses. Blue, David. Yellow, Jeremiah. Or green, Ezra? Who wrote the book of Lamentations? Red, Moses. Blue, David. Yellow, Jeremiah. Or green, Ezra? And don't try to look at the picture to figure it out, because I always choose a picture that doesn't say the author's name. And the correct answer is Jeremiah wrote the book of Lamentations. He was known as the weeping prophet.
Okay. Now I know. I didn't know that one.
And Tom now on top. Katie, second place. Miss Eileen has jumped to third place out of nowhere, which shows you how fast things can change. Jam and Jeff still on the board, and Robert back in 5th place. 3 participants just broke their answer streak of 7. So we have 2 questions left. Anything could still happen. Question number 9. What is the long hair on the neck of a horse called? Red, the crown. Blue, the crest. Yellow, a burr magnet. Or green, a mane? What is the long hair on the neck of a horse called? Red, crown. Blue, crest. And everybody got this right. It is called the mane of the horse. Tom still on top, followed by Katie, Eileen, Jam, and Jeff, and Robert. No changes in the lineup. So this could be the deciding question. Question number 10, worth double points. Who wrote the book of Acts? Red, Paul. Blue, Luke. Yellow, Matthew. Or green, Silas? Who wrote the book of Acts? Red, Paul. Blue, Luke. Yellow, Matthew. Or green, Silas? And the correct answer, 10 people got this right. The disciple Luke, the apostle Luke, wrote the book of Acts. Let's see who ended up on top. In third place, Miss Eileen. In second place, Miss Katie. And in first place, our reigning trivia champion, Tom Grasskemper. All right, all 3 of you will get $10 gift cards. Runners up, 4th place, Jam and Jeff, and I didn't see who was 5th. I think maybe Miss Louisa, but I could be wrong because it went by so quickly. But Katie, Tom, and Eileen will all get $10 gift cards. We want to thank you for playing.
I thank God for giving me a dream to keep me living right, to give my life a purpose so I can fight the good fight. Trying to be the best that I can keeps me on the right track. Now that I know that I've chosen the right way, I could never want to turn back. Now that I know that I've chosen the right way, I could never want to turn back. Jesus, I could never want to turn back.